This is Movies, a podcast about the act of cinema, and with me today to count down our top 10 best films of the year 2022 is my co-host Hans. Hans, how are you doing? Movie star Hans, Hollywood Hans.
Don't do that. Don't fucking start that shit. Good. Different day, change my shirt.
That's right. Well, this
We
episode actually
didn't
comes
just,
before our episode with Mario, which is
oh,
next week, where we're going to
mm,
be talking about the 10 or 5 best films we watched in 2022. These are going to be older films. That's next week.
definitely two different episodes that were recorded 2 weeks apart. So, yeah, we're here to talk about our top 2022 movies.
That's right. And spoiler alert, Hans did name Philomena as his favorite film watched in 2022.
Yeah. What was Philomena?
I think that was
What was
Judy
that?
Dench and Steve Coogan.
Oh, right. Yeah. It
How do you
sounds
feel?
Mexican for some reason.
No, it doesn't. What do you think about this year 2022 in film?
I think it was, I, it wasn't as bad as 2020 or 2021. I'm trying to remember the picks that I had last year, and I think I only did five, right? I don't think I could even come up with 10. Or was that the year before?
I
Do you
want to
remember?
say that it was 2020 that you struggled to come up with
Oh,
any at all. 2021 you might have done like 8 or 9.
right.
I don't think you
I,
had a full 10.
I think the problem is that there's still a lot of trash. So you have to watch a lot of trash to find gems, I guess, which is, I guess, what happened in most years. But I was able to come up with 10 this year, so that's a positive. As opposed to previous episodes of this, I guess, series now. What is this, third year in a row that we do this, or four?
No, this is your third
Third.
year,
Yeah.
and it's going to be. I mean, we're in 2023 now. This is the fifth year, going on the fifth year of movies. Movies premiered September 11th, 2018, with Gotti, and that was me doing like 20 to 40-minute long solo episodes. And I did that for 33 episodes, I want to say, before you came on as co-host, and we did the Hateful Eight.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Before podcasts were an hour and a half,
That's right.
right?
That's right. Yeah. No, these episodes were getting capped at like 40 to 60 minutes, even with guests on. And then we started doing like 90 minutes is the norm. I want to say around 2020 when nobody had anything better to do. And that
Right.
just became the standard. So here we are. Um,
We're recording on Skype.
which in retrospect, I really wish we had made the leap sooner because those early video episodes are literally just like close ups of our faces, just
Yeah.
blocked in. Uh,
Like, hey, join our Patreon to look at very close-up shots of
mhm.
blurry camera
280p,
faces. Yeah.
360p
My
video.
phone on one episode. Remember the Kevin Smith episode? I think I did on my phone because my computer was in the shop.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was rough going adapting to the new technology, but now we're all in on it, and people are, I think, hopping off of Zoom now. I think a lot more people are using Riverside. Not just, I'm not just saying that because we did Low Society 2 weeks in a row, two episodes in a row, where it was Riverside, but it seems like more people are into that, and it seems to be, I guess, a cheaper version of Zoom. I don't know. I like Zoom. I personally enjoy Zoom because it's very safe. And if the computer dies in the middle of the program, it's going to still back up everything we got, which I appreciate. So, on the last episode of this program, I gave my 20 to number 11 top picks of the year. And I'm going to assume you don't listen to the episodes, Hans. You're not much of a
No,
fan, you know.
no.
So I'll just rattle off what I had in my 20 to 11 real quick, and I'm curious to get what your take on this preliminary list of films is from your perspective. Number 20 for me was Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, which was released direct to Netflix. I thought that was a cool, dark, animated film, far better than I was expecting it to be. Number 19 was Bones and All from director Luca Guadagnino. Number 18 was Corey's Cool. Corey's Cool Motorcycle Adventures by David Gordon Green. Number 17 was The Banshees of Inisherin Number 16 was Shut In. Number 15
Wow.
was okay. That's the first objectionable one. Um, Number 15 was Deep Water, the Ben Affleck, Ana de Armas, Tracy Letts starring film directed by Adrian Lyne. Number 14 was the Amy Poehler directed documentary Lucy and Desi. Number 13 was the Park Chan Wook film, which everyone is raving about, Decision to Leave, which I
Mm.
said it on this episode. It feels like people are overcompensating for gassing up Parasite 4 years ago
Yeah.
and really heralding that as, oh, this is the new cinema movement. Parasite's so good, and not, here's our Korean diversity pick of the year, Parasite. Decision to Leave feels like, no, we've always been into Korean film, but it's one of his
Yeah.
lesser films, Park Chan-wook's. He's done it much better 3 or 4 times over. And I wouldn't be mad if it did get nominated for Best Picture because it's a whole lot better than many other films this year. But it feels fake. Feels very.
Definitely a step down from Parasite,
I
which
agree, actually. Yeah, and I'm a harsh critic of Bong Joon Ho, but when he's good, he's really good. I thought Parasite was a much better movie than Decision to Leave.
in every way, the acting, the way it looks, the way it's shot, I feel Decision to Live has so many very questionable shots. There's just what are you even trying to do here? Like it just looks like I'm just moving the camera,
Well, he
because
did
the
this thing
movie.
where it's like an over the shoulder on an iPhone, and then the POV of the iPhone, and then also like a canted angle on the iPhone, and then a close up on the iPhone. And it's a wide shot on the iPhone. There's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff like that. You know why? Because Apple fucking paid him to do that movie.
It felt to me, even though it's Korean, it felt like when they would bring Asian directors to direct American movies,
Hmm.
and they just like, it's you can see his style. This is John Woo directing American. It's just like it's his style, but it's missing something. It's like it's not there completely, even though it is Korean.
And also, the big Korean cinema movement is over. Sorry, that ended ages ago. Their movies are not as good as they were 15 or 20 years ago. The time to be there for that, to be really into it and enjoying the wealth of great films, was about 2000 to 2012. Yeah, I feel like it ended with The Handmaiden.
Hmm.
Handmaiden was 2016 or so. That was the last really great one. That was Park Chan Wook's other film, his last film that he directed, and I was able to catch that at Sunshine Cinema before they closed down in New York. So that's my number 13. Number 12 is Kevin Smith's Clerks 3, which I
Uh,
think is a great film. Number 11 is Top Gun Maverick. So Top Gun Maverick, Clerks 3, they're in the same, one could easily replace the other, in my opinion.
mhm.
So just thoughts on that quick quick list there before we get into our top tens of the year.
Uh, I never saw Top Gun Maverick. I don't like the first one. I think it's overrated and loved for the nostalgia factor. People that probably liked it back in the day. I tried watching that and I don't even remember if I finished it, and if I did, I
I hope
I
you
just
finished it. We
remembered.
did an episode on it.
Okay, I that's how much I remember. That's how much is stuck in my head. It was just like this is just 80s cringe. I don't understand. So that's why I've had it on my hard drive for like the whole year since it came out, or what, July, whenever it came out. And I like really don't care. I feel like the whole right wing thing behind it, not that the movie is right wing, but like the right wing is like, oh, here's a movie for the man and all that shit. It's just like, I don't like it's really, it kind of took away from what I'm sure it's a at least decent movie, but I just,
It makes it unappealing. I think when
yeah,
you see
it
too many
does.
of the same type of person boasting that a film is amazing and the best of the year and this and that, it takes away the enthusiasm. And I mean, this is certainly the case with like many left wingers. With
Mhm.
Parasite, for example, there's a certain contingent of people trying to push Parasite as like this. This is a big socialist message, and maybe I don't know. They're all kind of pieces of shit, especially the fucking poor people are disgusting in that film. So I don't know where you would maybe land on that, but it kind of prevents you from wanting to rush to revisit it or watch it to begin
Hmm.
with when that type of faction gets behind and rallies a film. With Top Gun Maverick, that's kind of a big one to miss out on for the year, I think. Even though it's only my number 11, a lot of people are going to cite it as their top film of the year. That was, I think, the big blockbuster film to come out this year, or at least in terms of generating a profit. It'll probably wind up being Avatar 2 when all is said and
Avatar 2.
done. So I don't know. Top Gun Maverick I thought was very enjoyable. I've got the 4K Blu-ray here. I was watching the special features and learning about the whole process of which they were filming in real aircrafts that they were flying, and they had to memorize their lines and their scene partners' lines and deliver it on cue. And there are 6 cameras here. You have to lean this way and do this and that, and you're doing it all by yourself. There's no one in a headset helping you out, and it seemed like a lot of work because Tom Cruise just pressed everyone to do it. No, there was no slacking off, which I appreciate because
Yeah.
um, I I've said this before, but I think what Tom Cruise does best is he shows that things are only of lower quality right now because no one wants to take the extra step
Hmm.
to ensure that greatness and that authenticity. All you have to do is try. If you show up and you try, you're at a better advantage than most other people. Where, especially nowadays, we talk so much about how the films are polished and a lot of creative decisions are decided upon in post production as opposed to the day of. I think it kills something in the filmmaking process when you choose to go that route. When you have so many options and you can figure it out later on, um, at least as far as technical things go, like stunts or performances, having
Yeah.
people sit in front of a green screen, that laziness adds up. It cultivates to an inferior product. And Top Gun Maverick, I think, is a good movie. Um, but does it hold up as well at home as it does in the theater? Probably not. And I can say that
Hmm.
about Elvis also. I watched Elvis and I was like, I think it's easier to get lost in the visuals of that movie when you're sitting in front of the theater screen and it's just all over. It's designed for that kind of experience. And it's easier to like pick apart some of the special effects and what have you when you can see it on a TV, everything shrunk down, and you
Yeah.
can more easily decipher what's original footage of the actual Elvis performing based off the grain quality as opposed to what they just shot with Austin Butler and things of that matter. So um, I try not to hold that against a film, especially if it's designed for the theater, like most films once were.
Hmm.
But it's a factor. All right, why don't we kick off our list? You have a solid 10. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I had Elvis as 11 on mine, and then I saw a movie recently. It's a zombie movie from Spain called Valley of the Dead, and I was wondering if that would qualify because it wasn't released because of COVID, and then it just came out on Netflix in this year.
Yeah, I
That,
think if it's released in 2022,
yeah.
then that's that. And if it's released domestically or what have you, I mean, you hear this if you listen to any UK podcast where they talk about film, if they do their best of the year, you'll hear like films from 2020 and 2021 in the mix on there. So that's just look, it's constantly fluctuating, and there's no worldwide release date for any given film. So yeah, we'll count that absolutely.
Okay. So that one was fun. I haven't seen a zombie movie in a while that was funny and also had decent effects. The story is very basic. It's just soldiers in the German war. They send a soldier to deliver a letter, and then he's caught by communists or anarchists, and then zombies pop up, and they have to kill them. But it's got I'm not a huge fan of Spanish movies, and I don't know, probably should because I've watched a couple recently that were really good. But it's very funny. It has a lot of really funny moments, even with the subtitles. Like it still translate, and the characters are really well done. So that Valley of the Dead, it's currently on Netflix right now. So that I would recommend that one if you like, you know, early 2000s zombie like comedies that are not very complicated, very short. But it was I was pleasantly surprised by it. So That was my 12. Elvis for that. It doesn't make top 10 because I still have not rewatched it. So my Elvis experience was 1 to 3 movies, very
It's the
blurry.
worst
Like,
way to watch it. Yeah.
yeah, like 240p, I think it was, or something horrible like that. So my experience wasn't as great, but I could still appreciate his style and his, flamboyant things that he adds to his movies. What's his name? Michael Schumacher. No, what's his
That's
name?
right. No, it was Joel
French
Schumacher
Schumacher.
directed it from Beyond the Grave. It
I
was
mean,
his posthumous film.
race car driver Michael Schumacher, directing gay movies. Gay Elvis. So
Baz
that was
Luhrmann.
my Baz Luhrmann, right? So that was my 11. Should I start with my 10,
Yeah,
or do
go
you want
ahead.
to start?
Start with number 10.
Okay, so my number 10 is one of your favorites, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Are you kidding me?
No, I was going through the list yesterday and I was like, how can I piss him off? And honestly, like I don't remember a lot of it. I remember I enjoyed the editing a lot. I don't remember much of the story, but I gave it 4 stars on my letterbox. So compared to everything else, it's one of the highest ones that I rated. I know that the narrative and annoying online people have
Co-opted
maybe,
it.
yeah, changed the narrative
Exactly
on
what we were
it.
talking about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember just, it was a fun, like a family movie, I think,
A
if I remember
rip-roaring good
correctly.
time at the cinema is what Gene Shalit called it.
Exactly. I saw it at home. But yeah, that would be my 10.
Wow. So your list doesn't count already.
It's
I said
invalid,
this. I
yeah.
said
I know.
my number 10 is Ted K, which we did 2 episodes on. And there's a
Mhm.
rumor that Ted Kaczynski's dead right now, but that the
Ah,
press hasn't come out with it. There hasn't been an official report yet. You know, you can't trust these things. This was days ago. Someone on 4chan said, I'm a hospital worker at the penitentiary where he's locked up and he died only hours ago. I have no clue when the press is going to report on it. Everybody believed it. Everybody said, oh, sad day. Because he has cancer. He's going to be dead any day now.
right.
But it's been 3 or 4 days and nothing on Ted Kaczynski's passing. So Ted K, we've talked about it at length. Go check out the episode we did with Jake Hanrahan where we're talking about the film. There was an episode where I think my audio was not on, right? I fucked up the audio somehow. So that was just, I think it might have been a paywall only show because why would you put that out as an official episode? But I did. Uh, so yeah, Ted K is number 10 for me. I will go into my number 9. We can just do it this way, just alternating. Number 9 for me is a film called Peter von Kant, uh, directed by Francois Ozon. And it's a gender swapped remake of the Bitter Tears of Petra von Kant, the Rainer Werner Fassbinder film. But it's not really. It's actually kind of a biopic on Fassbinder without being a biopic. And they have the guy who opens the scene in Inglorious Bastards with Christoph Waltz, who has this sort of Liev Schreiber look to him, and he's
Mm.
a German actor. I'm fairly certain. Is he, or is he a French actor? I think he might be a French
Dave
actor.
Strive.
I don't know. No, the
He's from
actor.
Boston.
Oh yeah, Boston Leave. Yeah, no. Dennis Michaud or Menochet is his name, and you should look up a before and after on this guy. Look him up in Inglorious. Type in his name, Inglorious Bastards, Dennis Menochet, and then right after you do that, and you should do a screen share for this. Look
Yeah.
him up in Peter von Kant and see what kind of transformation this man has undergone in just a little over 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Um, yes,
Okay.
he's a rather bulky boy, is Dennis Menochet, but he's great in the movie, and he's very infantile as an adult gay man with a daughter in the '80s. And the film has kind of a cool look to it. So here he is, suave and manly, and he's got big forearms and nice
The opening
beard.
scene.
That's right, yeah, where he's hiding a Jewish family under the floorboards, and Hans Landa, who you were named after,
Yeah.
decides to go. And then here he is now. And yep, he looks shorter and wider, puffier. It's crazy how getting fat makes you look shorter.
Yeah. It's yeah.
He does not look short. He looks like Sargon of Akkad.
He does. Sargon with a fat. Is he fat? Is Sargon fat? I don't. I haven't
I think
checked on
he
him in
lost
like
weight, but
5
he's
years.
still round faced, so it doesn't matter. There you go.
Yeah. How 5 years? Would you say 10 years?
10 years.
10.
Which
Yeah.
is, I mean, there's no reasonable amount of time to kind of puff out like that, especially if you're not even like, I don't think he's 50 yet. I think he might be in his 40s. But you can see how that could happen over 10 years. So Peter Von Kant is my number 9 film of 2022.
Well, I'm gonna do my 9 and 8 because Ted K was my 9.
Okay.
Uh, so that doesn't. I mean, don't have anything else to say.
Yeah, we've
Just
talked
go
about that
listen
too
to the
much.
episode. Yeah. Number 8 is a movie called The Wasteland. It's a Spanish movie. It's a very creepy folk horror movie about this little boy that lives with his parents in a little shack in the middle of nowhere. And it has they're like afraid of a demon or a monster or something that's coming to get them. So they have like a perimeter around their house and they're not allowed to go past that. And it's just a very interesting cinematography. And the kid is a really good actor too. So let me show you a couple of stills because I feel like the visual aspect of it is one of the most interesting things. It's very desolate, very desert like. It's currently on Netflix too. I'm all this shit that I've talked about
There's
Netflix, and
Latin
I feel like,
American films on Netflix. Yeah, no, I haven't
well,
even heard of The Wasteland.
it's not a Latin American movie, it's
Oh,
Spanish,
okay,
but
whatever. It's all the
but
same shit.
yeah,
All
but it's
right.
very, folky horror, like kind of dirty, kind of poor people, they don't have anything to eat and they're just afraid of a thing that we don't see for most of the movie, but it all kind of looks like that. A lot of white shots, a lot
Mm.
of very intense night scenes. That's not it. That's
So The
not.
Village.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of. So that was an enjoyable one. That would be my number 8. I don't really have much to say about it, but it's a good pick if you have a couple hours to kill and you like folky horror.
Okay, well, The Wasteland is Hans's number 8 film of the year. My number 8 film of the year is The Fablemans, the Steven Spielberg movie with Paul Dano and Michelle Williams. And I have to tell you, I did a double feature of this and Bones and all, and I was like, all right, I don't even really want to watch The Fablemans. I don't care. Late career Steven Spielberg is very boring.
Yeah.
I have no interest in this, but I'll get it out of the way just so I can say that I watched it. And I really enjoyed the movie. I didn't like Bones and All that much. I really enjoyed The Fablemans, and it doesn't do anything particularly interesting. It's just the deconstruction of a family and how Seth Rogen ruins the family because he's the best friend who's a little too comedic around the wife. He hangs out with the wife a little too much. He's going on family trips with the husband and wife and the kids more than any normal family friend should. And the boy who wants to be a filmmaker discovers in the film reels, I just saw him grab my mom's ass. What is this about? She smacked his hand away. Are they kissing in the forest? And Paul Dano is just like this non charismatic, not funny guy who's got a good job and everything else. He's a good father, good husband, but does not seem like the right kind of guy for Michelle Williams. She is way more into his best friend Seth Rogen.
And Seth Rogen is the guy they picked for that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's not likable in the movie. He's very like it fits his public persona.
Right. I
But
was
she's
gonna
got a
say,
type. She likes the glasses, nerdy Jewish men.
right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
the
thought
Fableman, yeah.
I thought the movie was about like Steven Spielberg being a kid and liking movies or something. Because
It
I
kind
saw
of there's a bit
I
of that, but I don't
I
think that's the main thing because I'm fairly certain his parents are still together. They might even be still alive. He's
oh,
keeping them alive.
because I saw like the first 10 minutes and then something happened with my movie theater and the
Hmm.
audio got synced and so the image was like 5 seconds behind. I was like, that sucks. So I just didn't watch it. But yeah, sounds like something I should check out.
Well, there's an ending to the movie that I think is probably the best ending of any movie from this year that features a. It's pulled from Steven Spielberg's real life, where he was working at a TV studio and he had an opportunity to meet the famed director John Ford, who directed well over 100 movies and is this great pioneer of American filmmaking. He directed The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance and Red River and all these Stagecoach, all these great films of the early 20th century. And who did they get to play John Ford? They had David Lynch play John Ford, and he's the perfect guy to cast as Ford. And the whole ending, I think, really puts a nice little bow on the film, which was good. Maybe not anything special or anything that anyone will return to, but for the year, I think it's pretty great. So The Fablemans is my number 8 of the year. Would you like to give your number 7 before I give mine?
Number seven, it's a movie that kind of surprised me. Because I mean, found footage is pretty dead, right?
I think it's
The
due any day now to come back. I mean, the
think
VHS movies are trying, right? But they don't feel like found footage. You would need, I think, in order for it to come back for real, someone has to go grab a real VCR camera or Sony Digicam or something and go shoot a full movie with that.
Well, this movie might bring it back if more people watch it. It's called Incantation. It's an Asian movie. It's a creepy found footage movie about this village.
Damn, you have
That
quite the international list so far this year, huh?
Yeah, I went away from America this year and just try to diversify my list.
No, it's interesting though.
It
All right, so
it
go ahead, tell me more about this because I haven't heard about this movie either.
it's very creepy. It has a lot of early found footage elements that work. You know the and I was talking about this to my girlfriend that found footage movies are not that difficult to make. Saying I'm saying that without ever making one, but because you can um map, or you can plan things, and since you have the camera in your hands and the only thing you see is the camera, you can hide things, and you can do jump scares and things like that very easily without showing them, and then all of a sudden you show them. So that's what I feel killed the found footage genre, that because it's a little less complicated than using multiple cameras and multiple settings and multiple actors, people just got lazy. And then you have things like Paranormal Activity Next of Kin, which is a terrible movie.
Mm.
They kept just trying to continue milking the franchise, and it sucks. Here, it's done really well. There's a lot of very creepy visuals and a lot of things that you don't expect to see in a modern movie because of that style. I believe that might be streaming on Netflix too. Goddamn. It's definitely one to check out if you like that genre. I don't know if it's going to. I hope it doesn't revive it, because once that happens, then we're just gonna continue getting trashed like we did before. But it's definitely one of the top on that genre, especially horror found footage, just because of how creative a lot of the shots are and a lot of the creepy Asian demon things we see in it. So Incantation is my seven.
Okay. My number 7 of the year is a film called Watcher, starring Maika Monroe and Bern Gorman, which we briefly talked about on this program before. It's a very Hitchcockian thriller that I originally saw the trailer to when I went to go see Vortex at the IFC. And it's from a director named Chloe Akuno, and it's a very pretty looking film. It's got great tension to it, great atmosphere. Everybody gives a pretty solid performance. And for a modern horror movie, especially, it doesn't indulge itself. That seems to be a big problem with a lot of horror movies that have come out in the past 10 years or so, is they just can't help themselves when it comes to hitting the horror tropes and then cranking that trope up to a 10. Watcher is very uh, contained. It's very well measured, and I would certainly recommend it. The only thing I didn't like about Watcher is the very end of it. The very end
Mm.
of it, where we have a correction, a slight correction made for the sake of the protagonist and the viewer that we don't really need. So that's my number 7 of the year. I'll give my number 6 now. My number 6 is The Northman from Robert Eggers, a director I'm not very enthused about typically. And you hated this movie. We were going to do a show on The Northman with Robbie Goodwin a while back, where you both would have wound up agreeing that you don't like The Northman. Now, rather than me telling you why The Northman is great, because there are plenty of people who they'll tell you The Northman's great.
Yeah.
Why is The Northman not so great, Hans?
I it's not that I don't want to say I hate it because there's a lot of things about it that I like. I think it's very well shot, just like all of his movies. I hate the last half hour. I don't think it's necessary. Like I don't think all of that terrible CGI or terrible looking effects at the end kind of really took away from me watching what 2 hours before that half hour at the end. I kind of wish that he had finished it differently. So I think I gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd. So I don't absolutely hate it. I just didn't know if I could come up with things to talk about for a whole hour.
Mhm.
Cinematography wise and performance wise, I think they're very good. But I just hated that ending so much that I was like, I don't know. First thing that I agree with Robbie Goodwin on.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's a terrific film. I think it's excellent. I think it's not a masterpiece, but it's close.
Is that your favorite Eggert
Oh yeah,
movie?
no question about it. I didn't really like The Lighthouse, so
Okay.
and The Witch I would have
The
to give a
Witch.
second viewing to. All right,
Uh,
why don't you give your number 6?
my six is Blonde.
Ooh,
Uh, it might be a little higher on your list, I think, if I'm guessing correctly.
nope.
No,
That made it to
that.
100, number 100 for the year. There
Oh
were 100
wow.
amazing films.
Okay. Well, now I thought you were going to support me because I don't have many things to say about it other than it was really well shot. It was very pretty movie and
Okay. Well,
really
how about this?
really
We'll put a bookmark in Blonde, and maybe it'll come up. Maybe it will. I don't know. No promises.
okay.
So, you want to give your number 5 then?
My five is this is it Russian? It's a sci-fi movie called Vesper that I have never heard of before
Hmm.
until very recently. It's like a dystopian, end of the world type of thing, but they created a very interesting looking world with a lot of interesting flora and a lot of very interesting monsters. The director's name is Christina Buzzi, I'm guessing. I don't know. But anyway, it's it's like back in the day sci-fi movie, where they just take you to that world and the way they constructed the world. The story is not the greatest story as usually is in sci-fi when they don't get too complicated, which usually ruins it. So the story is very straightforward. This little girl wants to like save her dad. Her dad is just on a bed with a thing that's keeping him alive, stuck to his brain, and with that he controls a drone that goes around with her as him pretty much. But there's lab created slaves. There's aliens from other planets. I was very I enjoyed the cinematography of it a lot and just the world building that happened in it. And I think all the performances are also really good. That's a French movie, sorry. There's some biohacking and then some really cool technological end of the world type of thing.
It sounds like
Vesper.
a better Cronenberg film than what Cronenberg did this year.
Yeah, not as horny. There's no
Well,
horn, not a lot of horny in this, but yeah, that definitely better than Crimes of the Future. And it seems to be, yeah, just like a sci-fi indie that really worked for me.
I don't think I heard about this movie. You might have mentioned it or suggested it for an episode of the show, and I just never got around to watching it. But it looked interesting to me. It looked like it had pretty good aesthetics, all things considered.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your trend really is international on this show. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
This might be the first episode you seem more cultured in film or art than I do.
that's right.
Um, so my number 5 for the year is Funny Pages, which was the
Mm.
A24 released film from Owen Klein, which he shot over 4 or 5 years, and I was able to talk about Funny Pages with Buddy Duress when I linked up with him just a while back, a month ago. talking about what that experience was like shooting that movie, which he says he shot for that in 2018. So it took 4 years to get Funny Pages out. And I know from listening to a podcast with Owen Klein that not dissimilar to how we've shot Mass State Lottery, he just kind of picked up and shot when he could and then readjusted the story and readjusted this and that and then picked up and shot some more. So I was like, oh, phew, okay, all right. Well, this isn't one of things here. But Funny Pages is really hilarious in some parts, and we did an episode on it previously when we started doing this whole setup here visually. Yeah. One of the beta episodes. Funny Pages, go check it out. The lead guy is very obnoxious. Everyone's kind of obnoxious in it, and it's a good time. All right, what is your number 4?
Oh yeah, I just want to say Funny Pages is another one that kind of feels like early 2000s comedy with where everyone's unlikable, but you like them for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really funny. Number 4, I have The Wonder. Have you heard of The Wonder? So The Wonder is this movie starring Florence Pugh, Jerry's favorite, about this nurse in, when is it set? 19, I want to say 20s, if not earlier. No, definitely earlier than that. And she's sent to this home to investigate or to watch this girl who hasn't eaten in 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
So she's a nurse that's supposed to see if this is like a miracle from God or what's happening in it. It's another folk horror-y. It's not there. It has horror elements on it, but there's nothing particularly scary. It's just, those folk horror movies that are set in 100 years ago have that look to them. But she's really good in it, unsurprisingly. And it's very well shot too. The story has some twists and turns too that are very fucked up. So it has a really cool start to the way that it's shot, because it starts with just like what kind of looks like a high school gym, like a play, and then the camera just pans from that into the old house, and then at the end it does the same thing, kind of like a bookend to the story. So I thought it was really creative, and the story is very engaging, and the performances are really good. So the Wonder is another Netflix movie.
Am I reading correct here that the lead character's name is Lib?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she's a British.
They call her shit Lib throughout the film.
She's a British girl in Ireland, so nobody likes her. Everyone like
because she loves abortion. She's just constantly fighting for the right to vote.
Well, she died. Her kid was
she dyed her hair purple.
Yeah, and wears a pussy hat on top of it.
Oh.
Yeah, The Wonder. That's my 3.
The Wonder,
right?
The Wonder. Yeah. Okay. No, not number 3. Number 4.
Oh,
did you jump ahead?
Did I jump?
Did you count your list before you?
I did.
You started
1, 2,
reading
3,
it off.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Now my number 4 for the year is Todd Field's Tar, starring Cate Blanchett, which you could not get through 10 minutes of.
I still haven't finished it yet.
In fairness to you, it has a very slow, I feel like they don't cut away at any point. It's just her talking, explaining her philosophy of musicians and how their personal lives don't really matter compared to the art that they do, which is ultimately what the film winds up being about. You mind if I spoil the ending for you?
No, go ahead.
Okay, well, she gets canceled because she's addicted to hiring attractive young women who might be bi-curious or lesbians and then fucking with them, even though she's got a wife and a kid. And wife doesn't really seem to care, I guess. I mean, she cares, but she doesn't care like that because she's old. She's like a 70-year-old wife. And it's kind of like a Paul Schrader situation where he's got like a 24-year-old girl assistant, and his wife is just in a bed on tubes and a machine. Jesus. That's not the case in Tar. She's like healthy, but so yeah, you have Lydia Tarr, who's played by Cate Blanchett, and it's a terrific performance. And I'm usually not a big fan of Cate Blanchett because she's so generically good. She never delivers a bad performance, but never does anything too interesting. with her characters either. And you kind of gradually unfold this movie and learn what it's really about, which is a woman being canceled over her own sexual exploits, which you can decide on your own whether or not they're as as lacking in ethics as perhaps what is being portrayed in the press to this character in the movie. One of her flings kills herself after sending a swath of emails, making threats and doing this and that, and being obsessed with her. After being discarded, she winds up killing herself, and then her assistant turns on her because of that. And it's this whole messy thing where this prestigious conductor winds up gradually falling to the very end of the movie. I'm spoiling this for you guys. She winds up going to Japan or some country, some like third world Asian country, and conducting for a science fiction convention where there are nerds dressed up in
Oh,
cosplays. And that's her great fall is she's considered one of the greats, and then here's where she winds up, and it's like, wow, this is today. This is right. This is great.
replace the Legend of Zelda with an arc.
It's literally something like that. It's as bad as that. So that was my number 4 for the year. You want to give your number 3?
Yeah, well, I messed up. Number three was a wonder. Number four was this one
So you
called
did fuck up.
yeah, I did. This one called Hellhole. It's a Polish horror movie about a priest that's sent to a monastery because they're investigating some weird disappearances. Now, this monastery is in 1987, so it's a shithole. It's like an absolute shithole. It's dirty, it's gross. It's a very disgusting movie. But it's also very funny, and it has an element of the devil, that they want to revive the devil somehow, and has a couple of very funny twists and turns. And it's only 88 minutes, so it's a very quick watch, but it's really well shot. The cinematography is very creepy, very atmospheric, very well, that type of horror movie that just makes you feel dirty. They eat some bloody shit that it just makes you want to fucking throw up. And then once you find out what it actually is, it's even worse. But it's called Hellhole, and it's also on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm
But
noticing a
yeah,
trend
it's
that a lot of these movies are also on Netflix. Now, I do want
I
to
think
just
it's
show real quick the IMDb poster to Hellhole because
yeah.
it's making me question why this is so high on the list, this poster. Which is not, it's probably not the filmmaker's fault. It's clearly Netflix's fault here with
Yeah,
that N. Um, what a
yeah.
Photoshop.
It's horrendous, and that's supposed to be him too. It doesn't look like him at all.
They were trying
It
to hide the
looks
neck fat, it looks
he
like.
looks like one of the Skarsgårds, right? The older one, I
It
think.
looks
But
like a
no.
Twilight vampire in a robe.
So the whole movie looks like this. So it's so, and also he's very Jewish.
That's David
Uh,
Krumholtz.
yeah, he does look like that. Yeah, when he wasn't fat. But it's just a very enjoyable, quick horror movie that has a very goofy ending. And again, I went international, I guess, with a Polish film, but it was a very fun watch. So Hellhole, that was my four. Wonder
Okay.
was my three.
So
So
yeah,
I
well,
fucked up.
I would clean that up in the edit, but I'm not going to.
No, that's
My
fine.
number 3 for the year is actually a movie that got held up because it was supposed to be released in 2020, and then I think it might have gotten a select release in 2021. But it was a 2022 release here in the United States, and I caught that at the IFC. The movie I'm talking about is Vortex by Gaspar Noé. And I'm not going to talk about it too much because we might be having Jeremy Brown back on the show sometime in January to talk about this movie because he seems very adamant about getting into it. But it stars Dario Argento and an actress named, I think her name is Francois Lebrun, playing an elderly couple. And she has
Oh,
dementia and he's old and hardly managing taking care of her. And he's also trying to like feed into a side fling with like another Lydia Tarr situation with like a 40-year-old woman or something he's seeing, and they have a junkie son who's a total fuck up and a mess. And it's just the most depressing movie you can watch is Vortex. There's no happy ending. It's a pretty awful ending. It's a pretty nihilistic ending. It ends
Is that a
exactly what you would.
split screen movie, right?
Yes, Vortex was done in split screen, which I've lamented in the past. I'm upset we couldn't get Mass State Lottery out sooner because Mass State Lottery does it's like 50% split screen. And I
Yeah.
don't want people to think I took it from Vortex, but it doesn't really matter. It's not going to make a difference. Vortex is an amazing film, and I certainly recommend anyone watch it if they want to feel down about themselves. So that's my number three for the year, and we'll talk about that more later this month. What is your number two for the year
Uh,
2022?
the number two is Stranger. This is
Is
I
that
believe it's a straight.
another Joel Edgerton film?
Yes, that one.
Okay,
Yeah,
I heard from Jake
yeah,
Hanrahan this movie was great, and he's a
yeah.
harsh critic.
It's
So
yeah, and especially with crime movies, right? He's very critical whenever.
now, are you aware that this is a Netflix film also?
Yeah, shut up. Now that and I didn't even think about it. I was just going through my list and I guess all the shit that I've talked about Netflix in the past. Now I'm eating my words in 2022. Yeah, it's a very well shot, very well acted story about a suspect that's involved in a missing persons case, and there's a lot of well, one the cop that's played by Joel Egerton pretends to be his friend so that he can get him to admit that he did it, pretty much. But it's very creepy and very atmospheric, very beautiful in a non-beautiful way, the way that it's shot, because
Mhm.
everything is very dreary and dark, and the forests are all like they're not it's not a green forest. Everything is kind of gray, but it keeps you engaged throughout the whole movie, and I really enjoyed myself watching that. Do you remember what Jake said about it?
No, he did write a brief review on Letterboxd. If you want to pull that up or something, but I asked him, I was like, "Is this really worth checking out?" Because he's notoriously critical of anything that does not, pass the sniff test as far as
Yeah.
crime goes. And yeah, he thought it was good. I remember somebody in our group on Facebook.com/lowresgang, if you want to join our private group and still use Facebook. Which, by the way, I finally got my suppression, like what do they call it, shadow ban lifted. So I was getting like 6 likes a post. I was complaining about this a month or two ago, and it happened for like 3 months after I was getting bangers, just 200 likes, 300 likes, 400 likes, and now it's gone. They decided, hey, we'll let him have a normal account again, and it's back to that. And people have been eating up a lot of what I've been posting, but especially the short film with you and Jerry, Closing Up
Mm.
Shop, which is out now on YouTube. So go check that out. I'm going to build a Forgotten Genre. I should have done that first. Forgotten Genres page. So you guys can just go to forgottengenres.com/closing up shop. And it's very easy to remember. You know what? By the time this episode drops, I'll have done that. So go to forgottengenres.com/closing up shop if you want to watch the uh, short film starring Hans and Jerry here. But yeah, I remember somebody in our Facebook group saying it was kind of like Manhunter, and I was like, okay. And I never watched it, but you know what? I'm gonna check it out after we're done with this show. I might throw it on. So
It's
that's
on
good to
Netflix, so
know.
it's easy, easy to
Yeah,
find, easy to get.
yeah, wonderful. Not so you feel left out here, but my number two of the year is a Netflix film also, and
Which
that
one?
film is Blonde. So that is by Andrew Dominic. We've done an episode on Blonde before where we had Blauergeist on, and you guys should go listen to that because we talked about it much more thoroughly. Not even on that show, actually, the one before when we were talking about the Munsters. I feel like
Yeah.
we really got into Blonde. So give that a watch. It's a great movie. The critics are completely wrong about it, and it's unfortunate Anna de Armas is probably going to get snubbed when it comes to the Oscars. I think the Academy Awards have a real opportunity this year to gain back some goodwill and throw in popular films and interesting artistic films as opposed to this direct to streaming shit. Because I haven't seen too many Coda movies released in the past month. Like the deadline's over for
Oh yeah.
2022. You haven't seen too many Year of the Dog, Coda. Um, what am I missing here? These direct to streaming diversity films or woman director films, like we're going to hit the mark. We're going to get that best picture, best director, but whatever. I haven't seen a whole lot of that.
Was Coda this year?
Coda, yeah, well, Coda was the 2021 best picture winner in early 2022.
That's the Deaf People one, right?
Hmm. And that
Yeah,
was
that
an
I think that
Apple Plus exclusive.
I think that was just released on HBO Max for me here, and I don't.
That's a movie I will never watch so long as I live. That movie never
Yeah.
happened. That movie didn't exist. I couldn't even think of what won the 2020 to 2021 year. I
And
have no memory of it.
I wanted to check the comments on that video because I remember there was some pushback from some people.
For the one we
Um,
did on Blonde.
yeah, but now that I look at it again, um, I see one creepy old guy that left a gigantic paragraph saying that shut your goddamn mouth. It ends with that, remember?
I do love when people decide to write a whole essay in the comment section. That's been happening pretty frequently lately too.
Yeah.
And I read them. I do read every last word, unless it's on an eyes wide shut video, because I know better now.
Yeah.
I get like 50 comments a week on those eyes wide shut videos, and most of them are that long. And they go into, well, actually, Kubrick was hinting at the pedophilia aspect by using the same two extras at the end. And where's the daughter? They never show the daughter. Clearly, this is about pedophilia. It's about the pedophiles and the pedophilia that they commit. And she's like, no, you fucking retard. Shut up, stupid. And
You're
I'll
the
write,
same
oh,
guy.
really? I didn't know that. Hey, thank you for letting me know that. You know what? I'm going to go back to the movie and watch it with that in mind. Thank you so much for informing me.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Blonde's great. Blonde is wonderful. It's a dark, dreary film, kind of like Vortex, but it's much more stylistic. And Ana de Armas gives a great performance. Adrian Brody gives a limited but great performance. Bobby Cannavale gives a very good one. He gives a terrible one in Gloria, the remake of Gloria from '97 or so. That was directed by, oh God, who did 12 Angry Men? Damn, what's his name? He directed the Vin Diesel attorney movie where Vin Diesel has hair as well.
Sidney Lumet.
Sidney Lumet. That's correct. Yeah, a great director. The most boring looking movie. First of all, Gloria is. They shot in like an empty white apartment, and the Italian gangsters in that film all look like central casting picks. They look like they live in Los Angeles, California. Never been to New York before in their life. Horrible, but Blonde is great. And that's my number two for the year 2022. So go ahead, give us your number one. What is the best film of 2022 according to Hans?
Oh, well, you mentioned it earlier. It's another Netflix movie. It's All Quiet in the Western Front.
Wow. Okay. Damn.
Yeah,
This is the one big movie I missed this year. Is All Quiet on the Western Front. I said that right before.
yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's hear it.
So I was not familiar with the original one because it's from like 1920 or something. It's black and white, shitty, old. And I don't watch those
Yeah, everybody
shitty old
knows
movies.
everything before 1960, before Technicolor is shit.
I don't care. Yeah. If they still talk like, oh, see, I watched the movie yesterday called The Outfit. I don't know if
Mm.
you've heard of it. It stars Del. Oh, fuck. That was going to be on my list, but it's more. It kind of feels more like a play. Mike Rylance, isn't it? More like a play because it all happens inside of Taylor's what do you call it? Office? Taylor's store. But
Taylor's
Dylan
Office.
O'Brien, Dylan O'Brien pops up in this, and everyone talks like the 1950s. And then you have goofy ass Dylan O'Brien who still looks 14 wearing adult clothes, and he just sounds like him. It's like, what's the point of getting a recognizable face, I guess, if he's not even going to try? He just plays himself. He's just, I guess Dylan O'Brien was transported to the 1950s, and everyone else is very, see, kind of voice. And then he's just, you know, uh, Kite Runner. No, what's the movie? What's the movie that he's in? The big movie where he got brain damage, or is that not him?
Oh, no, I don't think it was the Kite Runner. It was something that sounds similar to that. It was some young adult book series
The
that was
Maze Runner.
adapted, The Maze Runner.
Yeah. And I just thought it was a very funny pick because why would you get someone that is not even going to try? You know,
Why would you
he's
get a literal
also
retard to play that character? Is what I'm saying.
right. At least he would try to do the accent. This guy also he's 31. He still looks like 16, and he plays like the son of a gangster in this, and it's just like just why cast Teen Wolf's Dylan O'Brien if you're trying to do
Are you
something
looking
that's
forward to
set in the
Teen Wolf the
50s?
movie next year?
Is, is it from the series?
Teen Wolf the
No.
series the movie.
Oh, great. Yeah, I mean, we're
No,
probably
they're
gonna
just
cover it.
ignoring the Michael J. Fox and Jason Bateman ones. You know what this sounds like? This movie sounds like The Cobbler, starring Adam Sandler from 2014.
Yeah, it's similar with more gangsters. I guess I never saw the cobbler. But anyway, All Quiet in the Western Front. It's I think it's German.
Yeah.
It might be German. Really well acted. It's very gory, very visually, and the way that this movie is directed is amazing. It keeps you at the edge of your seat. It's very interesting, and it's just a story of three goofy teenagers that think that going to war is going to be fun because I'm with my friends, and then the horrors of 1920s war happens, and all of that fun ends in horrible tragedy. So for a movie that's I think it's almost 3 hours if I'm not let me see it's uh, it's the movie that I enjoyed the most this year. How long is it? 2 hours 2:30. And I don't know who Edward Berger is, the director. He did
Well, I love his
uh
foods.
woof. He oh, he's like a TV director. All right, but he did a really great job in this, and I just put it on just because like I knew nothing about it, and it ended up yeah being my favorite of the year. So if that's the one that you haven't seen, I think you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, that's a big snub for me. You know what it sounds like? You know what it reminds me of is that Adam Sandler 9/11 movie.
What is it?
What
Which
was it
one?
called? Let it rain or something like that. I
Rain
don't
on
know.
Me.
Rain on me. Rain
Never
on
saw that.
man
I
is
want
what
to
they should
see
have
Adam
called
Sandler
it.
with a Jerry curl.
Well, that sounds like a great film, and I regret not having watched it before doing the show. So now there could be an asterisk. So far to date, anytime I've done a best of the year list, there's always been like one exclusion of like a notable thing that I just haven't caught because wasn't a screener sent out or something. But it's never penetrated the top 10. So it's never
Mm.
jeopardized the integrity of the top 10. I'm going to assume that'll be the case with this. But if it is, I will be the bigger man here and admit that I should have watched the film and retroactively adjust the list here. My number one, it's Elvis. Of course, it's Elvis. It was always going to be Elvis. Elvis is the best movie of the year by far. Most entertaining, visually satisfying, inspirational film to come out in many years. Austin Butler, best performance you could ask for from an actor in 2022. Tom Hanks, horrible, piece of shit, very cartoonish, but it's so Orson Welles ish
Yeah.
and old Hollywood that it's not charming. I'm not going to say it's charming, but you accept it and you go, this is part of the movie. This isn't an outside thing. You know, it wouldn't be better without it. It would be less creatively interesting as a whole. And considering it's this big, explosive, cartoonish film at times, and the editing's just wild, all over the place, so colorful, it works with it. It does work with it. That doesn't mean Tom Hanks's performance is good. Don't be surprised if he does get a Best Supporting Actor nomination for Elvis in spite of that, because of just how the Academy works. But I appreciate what he's going for. And I no longer see him as like trying to steal the movie from Austin Butler by drawing attention to himself, which is kind of what I felt a little bit the first time I watched it in theaters.
Well, let me tell you, it's things are looking good because it won the AARP Movies for Grown Up Awards.
Is
Movies
that
for
right?
Grown Ups Award. Yeah, Best Director, Baz Luhrmann,
Do
Best
you think he
Movie for
showed up
Grown
and
Ups.
claimed it?
I'll look it up.
You know, it's kind of funny if you look at any interview with Baz Luhrmann from 1999 or 2001, 2003, when he did Strictly Ballroom and Moulin Rouge. And he's just like a normal artsy guy. And you take a look at him now at like 60, and he's like burnt to a crisp from all these tanning beds, and he's gay as hell, and his wife and kids are just dead to him. He's very flamboyant, and he does a lot of like these hand motions where his wrists are like bent down. No, he looks normal there. He looks respectable, which is not to say he doesn't look respectable. Well, there you go. So there he is with Lisa Marie Presley,
A
Elvis's
high color.
widow. Oh, well, not really. If they got a divorce, they split up before he died. He had two girlfriends in between, casually left out of the movie. One he was with for like 5 years after her. They don't make it seem that way. So don't go to Elvis for facts necessarily, but for a great movie, I don't think you can get any better than this Baz Luhrmann film. Maximalist, beautiful picture. Um, that's my number one for the year.
So you had
Now,
two biopics for one and two?
yes, two Americana biopics. And I hate Americana. I've always hated Americana. And yet here we are. Elvis and Marilyn Monroe are number one and number two for 2022. What are people saying are the Oscar frontrunners? Because I had taken a look weeks ago, and it said that The Fablemans was the frontrunner for Best Picture, which is crazy to me. But they were also saying Adam Driver is going to get in there for Best Actor, and White Noise will be not. And White Noise was horrible. White Noise was a total mess disaster. Babylon also total mess disaster from Damien Chazelle. I can't imagine these obvious candidates to occupy these positions are going to hold up. I think this could be a real year where blockbusters are honored and put back to focus, which we haven't
Um,
seen too much of.
Variety says Austin Butler, Colin Farrell for Banshees of Inisherin,
That's
and
not even
Brendan Fraser.
comparable. That's crazy that Colin Farrell is the guy. I don't think they're going to give it to Austin Butler because he's young. That's that. Oh, are you with me, Hans? Hans is apparently froze on his connection here. He'll probably be back in a moment, so I'll just be talking about this. Oh, excuse me. It's my internet connection, not Hans's internet connection. Well, this is no good. Uh-oh, I'm going to hit pause. See you in the future, guys. Hey, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why I'm apologizing because it's a very seamless picking up and dropping off from where we left off. But yeah, we were just talking about the Oscar contenders, weren't we, Hans? We were talking about how Austin Butler, I guess, is considered the favorite to win because he did undeniably give the best performance of the
No,
year. I think. I think we can
Brendan
all say
Fraser.
that. Brendan Fraser.
Brendan
Oh yeah,
Fraser
the
is gonna
whale.
he's gonna get it because fat.
Cause fat. You think? But they've kind of turned on the whale a little bit because they're saying it's fat phobic now. They don't like
No.
that. And the movie hasn't really gotten outstanding reviews. That's another dud as far as the Oscar contenders go, where people thought it was going to be this big film, and most people are just whatever about it. They say he's great, but the movie's, And my thinking here is that they won't give it to Austin Butler, and they should give it to Austin Butler, but because he's so fresh, what did he do before this? Yoga hosers.
Yeah.
What did he do right before
Yeah.
Yoga hosers? He was the guy in the convenience store in Yoga hosers.
Colin Farrell, Bill Nye did a movie called Living. Never heard of it.
Maybe it'll go
And
to
then
Bill
Tom,
Nye because he's old.
and then Tom Hanks for a movie called A Man Called Otto, where he plays a grumpy neighbor. Have you seen the trailer for this?
No, Tom Hanks has these movies that come out at the end of every year and they go direct to Apple and they look like the most generic, boring shit. And
Nope.
it's this fake like technology quirk.
This is a movie theater movie. He played before Avatar for me. And it's just him being a grumpy old man, and then the neighbors are like Mexican or something, and they are nice to him, and then he's like, "Oh, I guess I don't have to be grumpy."
Gran Torino. Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
but less racist. For
Watered down Gran
movies,
Torino. No, thank
for
you.
movies, Variety has Top Gun as number one, Fablemans as two, The Banshees at three, Everything Everywhere All at Once at four,
Did you see
Tar.
this Banshees of Inisherin movie?
I started it and then I didn't finish
Look,
it.
it's funny, but it's nothing special. I don't know why Colin. If they have Colin Farrell as the front runner, like his performance in it is good, but it's not anything. It's not best performance of the year material. Um, I don't know. I thought the other guy was it Brendan Gleeson, right? He's
Yeah,
better in that movie than Colin Farrell. Barry
I'm
Keoghan's
sure.
good at playing retarded.
Yeah, he's he's funny in it. I'm sure I'll finish it. I just with that accent, I kind of have to read the subtitles, and I wasn't paying full attention. So half an hour in, I was like, I don't know what anyone's saying. I'm sure I'll finish it.
What
But
wasn't that your life when you were living in the UK? Isn't that exactly
not
what that was like? You were living on a
not
hill on an island.
at the beginning, yeah. But that Irish accent with all the A's and all the little things they add to their sentences,
Mhm.
I don't know what the fuck you weirdos are saying. Uh, Director, Steven Spielberg is the front runner for The Fablemans. Then Martin McDonagh for The Banshees. Todd Field, Baz Luhrmann got four, and then Joseph Kosinski for Top Gun.
But we know Tom Cruise really directed Top Gun. Kaczynski's just like his bitch. You know, he's his prison bitch who just likes taking it the most out of all these guys. There's Christopher McQuarrie, and then there's Kaczynski. Uh, Cause what is it? Kaczynski? It's Kozinski, right?
Yeah, Kosinski. Yeah.
Okay, no relation. Yeah, I don't know. I think it would be a fun victory to see Top Gun get it. I think it would be more fun to see Elvis get it, but I think that's a longer shot. I don't know if Elvis will even be nominated. I think Austin Butler's the only sure bet for nominations. Maybe Baz will get nominated. That would be nice. But it's such a wild field of films that there's no front runners for any of these categories. I think the only slam dunk is probably going to be Kate Blanchett for Tar.
Uh, they have her, yes, two after Michelle Yeoh from Everything
Get
Everywhere All
real.
at
That is
Once.
not happening. That's not happening. That movie might
Yeah.
get nominated. I don't think so. I mean, I think the big thing about this year and why the Academy Awards has potential to be interesting this year is because you don't have those movies, as I was saying before, the message films that are like, this is the year for the deaf, this is the year for the woman, this is the year for the black. It's not
With the Woman King.
the woman. Oh, right. Yeah, that wins in a sweep. Of course. What was I thinking? The Woman King. Yeah. Best picture, director, actor. It had everything. You don't need any other movie. The woman. Where was the Woman King on your list? It was my number one. I it
Yeah.
slipped my mind.
Yeah, me too. I messed up. I messed up. I
I was
thought it
one of
was gonna
those
be
90,000 generic usernames who gave it an A plus and a 99% score on Rotten Tomatoes and everywhere else.
and in a review it looks like you just hit the keyboard with your both
Yep.
hands, so it doesn't say anything. Yeah.
And then it ended with a smiley face.
Yeah.
So that was a
The-
positive review. Where was Avatar 2 on your list? You said this was the best looking movie of all time.
I think it was like 13.
Wow.
Yeah. Just
No,
that
no
movie theater
mention.
movie.
Okay.
Just yeah, it's fun. It's a fun movie. That's it. Where's Christmas Bloody Christmas on your list?
Christmas Story Christmas.
Christmas
Um,
Bloody Christmas.
oh, that's honestly close to last. I can't. We still have a show we got to do on this fucking movie.
Is
Um,
that gonna happen still?
I hope so because I'm a man of my word, and I told Spencer, look, if there's one thing you can count on with your life, it's me and Hans doing your show on Christmas, Bloody Christmas,
Bloody
uh,
Christmas.
Buddy
I hope
Christmas.
so. I hope so
Damn,
because
that
I
would be
won't
so
have
good to do a Christmas movie with Buddy Duress. We call
with
it
Buddy
Buddy
Duress.
Christmas. That's going to be later this year. Big surprise.
Well, isn't that what the elf character is called? Buddy?
But oh
Buddy the
fuck, that's
elf?
the elf. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen. For worst movies of the year, I have for feature films. There's a lot of short films here at the bottom of my list for ranked in 2022. Um, the worst two movies are Netflix movies. One of which we talked about and did an episode on.
Texas Chainsaw.
I don't know. We'll find out when we do
Oh,
that
yeah.
show.
Oh, right. We're doing that show, right?
But
Okay.
Christmas Bloody Christmas is the third worst movie I have for the year.
Yeah, if we don't do a show on that, I'm gonna be pissed because I would have not seen that. piece of shit if
I
it
don't know
wasn't
who's
for
gonna
that.
listen to that now that it's January, but maybe we'll just queue it up for December of 2023. So maybe you're dead or something by that point, or fucking Spencer's in a psych ward, or I don't know. And then, hey, that's kind of how it felt when I dropped the Anthony Cisco Low Society episode after he disappeared for a month and a half. I wonder if people listen to that and were like, oh, Anthony's back. Anthony ain't back.
Anthony's in Florida.
No, 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 no. He's in New York. I might be.
Oh,
I don't want to say anything. Anthony and
well,
I
don't.
might be linking up to go work
Oh,
with
nice.
Nick
Made up.
Joroff this week.
Oh,
Nick Joroff will
that's
be flying in 3 days, and I've got him for the week.
that's
Hmm.
fun. Is he gonna be staying with you?
We're all gonna go to a flop house. That's the plan. It's no
You're all gonna
filming. It's just
stay
that.
in. You're all gonna stay in Anthony's wife's house.
Yep, we're all camping out there, and it's gonna be a great time. And there will be beverages had. So that's
Right.
a plan. But I'll tell you one other movie that's in the bottom of the bin for 2022 is Salesman, the Stavros Halkias starring film that
Oh,
went direct to Tubi.
did you watch a lot of shorts this year?
I watched some shorts. There were some shorts in here that I'm not going to include in the list, including The Note, a film by Alice Wu, brought to you by Oreo. And that's about a
Mm.
woman coming out to her family, and it's an Oreo commercial, short film. Another one is Crabs in a Barrel, a Latinx HBO Max short about how one Latinx success is every Latinx success.
Oh,
Or is
right.
it?
Yeah. Oh, is it a twist there?
There's a
Oh,
twist.
because that's definitely something that we suffer from. No, not we. I don't. But whenever someone is successful, it's like, oh, I'm proud to be from this country because that one person is successful. It's like so fucking
Mhm.
stupid.
Well, you must be getting wins left and right since you're 100 ethnicities in one.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna make a lot of people proud if I ever make anything.
Yes, Mass Ave is another one. I thought this was about Massachusetts Avenue. It's not. It's about some California Mass Ave, and it was about how a construction worker kid who works with his dad is doing landscaping, and they're both black, and the police pull up and are like, "Get down, get down, get down," and he's like, "No, wait, we're just landscapers. Don't shoot."
I thought it was a street where only fat people live.
Wow, that's not the kind of joke I was expecting in that. All right. Another one is 1230 Hopewell Road, which was like, I don't know, maybe there's a trailer on YouTube or something that's worth looking at, but it's a dude who looks like Necro, the rapper, who shot and starred in his own horror film about like his wife in a snuff film, but the VHS snuff film is like an iPhone VHS filter, and then he's like dancing to Burzum or Bones or somebody like that. I don't know.
Oh, I thought you're gonna take out the VHS of it. Here it is.
No,
Necros.
no, no, no. Also, VHS 99 is in that bottom rung. So there's a lot of horrible movies that I had to endure this year. Some middle of the rack films include Mad God, War Hunt, Alex's War, Terrifier 2, Fresh, Amsterdam, Nope, Lux Eterna. That's another Gaspar Noé film that was originally released in 2019. It was like, I think it was supposed to be like a Yves Saint Laurent commercial, and he just turned it into a movie. It was a very Gaspar thing to do. Black Phone, What is a Woman, Senior, the Robert Downey Sr. documentary. Aqua Teen Hunger Force Plantasm, which was the better Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie. It was actually pretty funny. They did a good job with it. The Batman. Are you excited about the Batman getting integrated into the DC universe? They're talking about, oh, he's going to go to Metropolis now.
That what the new young Superman?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think James Gunn's going to fuck it all up. He said that the inspiration for the films coming out next are the animated Justice League movie. So, or series, excuse me.
Nice. So you're excited.
I'm thrilled.
It's better than the Super Friends, I guess. Do you remember the Super
Fuck no, I'll
Friends?
take Super Friends any day over. Look, it's not even that the Bruce Timm stuff is bad at all. It's not. It's good, but it's so played out. You know, it's just I'm tired of it. It's over. Father Stew 22, Chip and
That's very
Dale
high.
21, RRR 23. Yeah. All right. Well, that's
I
been
don't have much to
2022.
say.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, I'm eating up more time, so this isn't like an hour and 5 minute show. But all right, that has been movies for the year 2022. We're officially into 2023 now, and exciting times ahead. We'll see you guys real soon. I don't know what we're even covering next. I think we might do a worst of list or something. We'll see. We'll figure it out. But until then, go follow Hans on Twitter. The H word name is his at low res
God.
WB for me. And that's been movies for this week, for this year. Thank you for listening.